You're listening to RevUp, a podcast about faith, family, and moto. I'm John Parkinson, president of Paddock Rev Ministries.
And I'm Zach Cummins, former Supercross racer. We're sitting down each week to talk with professional athletes about the unique crossroads of Christian life and action sports, to offer you a view into the motivations that drive those at the top.
Welcome back to another week of RevUp. Here we are towards the end of the Supercross season, man, and some fireworks going on in the West Coast. Exciting to see those guys battling and back at it. What was your take on the last couple rounds of the West Coast?
It's been really exciting, really fun, I think. I'd say the riders, the two riders we expect to be at the front have been at the front, right? With Dylan Ferrandis and Austin Forkner.
Yep.
Cameron McAdoo has been a big surprise for me. I knew before the season he was looking really good. And I think this was his expectation coming into the start of the season. He hadn't been quite this good. And then dealing with the injury that he did coming back, he's probably the guy that I've been the most impressed with as far as improvement and really making the most of this downtime and showing his muster. But otherwise, man, and I guess really him, right? There's been a fire in these guys, a lot of aggression. It seems like that's kind of carried into the 450 class a bit too, but we saw him McAdoo get into Ferrandis on last Wednesday. It didn't look intentional at all. It was actually, could have gone bad for McAdoo as well. I don't think he by any means meant to, but it was exciting. I was stoked when I saw it. I'm not, hating on Ferrandis. It was cool. It worked out to where he was safe. And then 2 turns later, Mosiman got into McAdoo going for the pass on him.
Yep.
And just a lot of really, really aggressive racing. I'm a big fan of that. I really liked that back when I raced.
Yeah, maybe the audience doesn't know, but I'm a huge fan of aggressive racing and not dirty riding, but being aggressive, and it's part of our sport. I truly believe that. I think it was Rick Johnson who said motocross without bumping is just like ice hockey without fighting and hitting, and fighting ice hockey without that stuff, just figure skating. So
that's funny. What did you think then of the to me, some of the most exciting stuff has been that Forkner has strategically made himself the enemy of the 2 most unpredictable riders on the track. He has made the Lawrence brothers particularly not like him.
Yeah.
What do you think about the first incident? You see the practice? Have you seen the full
practice
incident with Hunter?
Yeah. I don't know what happened previously.
Okay.
Right. Like I think Hunter cut in on a hot lap.
So I had seen it. They were both doing hot laps at the same time. There were a few seconds in between them. Hunter missed a rhythm with about 2 sections to go, but after he missed the rhythm, kind of slowed down for that turn and then went fast again. Well, Forkner had closed the gap where he was on his wheel.
Yeah.
So Hunter, obviously his lap time wasn't going to be good, but finished out that lap, and it ended up messing Forkner up just before the finish. So it screwed up Forkner's lap. Sure. I think some of that is, first race blues. It takes a little while to get used to kind of the fast pace of practice. And the unspoken agreement everyone has with even your biggest rival of getting out of the way when they're on a heater. Yeah. So that was what led up to what you then saw. Sorry, go ahead.
What I was going to say is I don't know what happened, but now I see what happened.
Sure.
Or hear. Either way, right? I have a problem with Forkner going about it the way that he did.
Really? Did you misspeak there?
No. Okay. Making enemies where enemies are not needed.
Sure.
Okay? This dude's in a title contention, right? Yeah. Now he's got a bullseye on his back. Mm-hmm. With 2 dudes that have 0 to lose.
Yeah, and are fast. Yeah.
And that, Jet is on. The dude's probably going to win a title next year.
Sure.
And he's faster than Forkner right now.
I think he's a little bit off, but he's there. I mean, in the 1 lap sprint, I think practice times, I think he qualified faster than him in the most recent race. Yeah. So I think he's there. Definitely. He could be.
I think he's made mistakes, making some enemies that were not needed to be made in the circumstance that he's in. Yep. You already have Ferrandis gunning for you in a way. Mm-hmm. And now you got these 2 dudes on the Geico bikes. That ultimately could team up against you and clean you out just as easy, and they got nothing to lose from it.
And they seem like the kind of guys that would have fun doing that as well.
Yeah.
I think so. I'm a little bit softer on Forkner with the Hunter Lawrence incident than I am with the Jet Lawrence incident. So when he cut him off in practice, he just came close to him, right?
Sure.
I think that was a, hey, dude, you're new here. Get with the game, right? What you just did wasn't cool.
Yeah.
It was high speed. Hunter had one hand on the bar, and Forkner kind of cut over and I think just barely nudged his front wheeler, came real close to it. The reality is, like, that was a sketchy move. Yeah. Could have easily taken him out if he had intended on taking him out,
Sure.
right? If you put it into comparison with Trey Kennard's incident with Chad Reed a few years back at Anaheim, when Trey was going for the tear off after they had crashed together.
Yeah.
Chad came in and hit him and didn't hit him that hard, but was deliberately taking him out in that situation.
Yeah.
I think Forkner was just like, hey, dude, screw you. Not cool. I'm going to spook you a little bit.
Yeah.
And then Hunter just saw red, dude, like straight up T-boned. I thought that was way gnarlier as a response, but set that precedent of, I don't care how new I am, nobody's going to give me a hazing.
Yeah. Which is respectable in my viewpoint, right? Like,
fair enough. I wouldn't do it to the guy going for the championship. I don't think. I mean, he could have easily hurt his foot or his leg. Like, that's pretty uncool for the measure of what had happened to him. But again, as a racer, I get it. I get that you don't really care about his championship, what he's doing. You don't want to be disrespected.
I will agree with that, but at the same time, I fault Austin.
For provoking, just ignore, be the bigger man, like, let the ego die. Like I think we saw that with Eli in the 450 main event, most recent race, right?
Yeah,
pushing and letting his ego kind of pass off. Before we move to that, I still think I want to touch on Forkner taking out Jet Lawrence in the heat race. To me, that was just ridiculous. I didn't get it at all. I can't wrap my head around how that was a good decision to go that far outside. There's no way it was accidental. That one I think was just straight up poor judgment call.
Yeah, and I don't want to sit here and bash Austin. I really don't. Mm-hmm. But does that speak a little to his character, right? And letting these emotions get better of him. And I mean, he backed up his win by winning the main. Mm-hmm. But man, like, when these little games, maybe they're motivating him. Let's take it from that standpoint, right?
To push back there, I guess, right? And not even to disagree with you, right? But when you say not to put it on his character, I think he, with the mindset that it seems like he has going into these last few rounds, I think he would happily put on that cloak onto his character. Yeah. I've heard him very openly recently in a Dirt Shark video saying that he has no intention of having any friends at the track. He's not trying to be friends with any of these guys. And the way he said it didn't give me, maybe I misinterpreted, didn't give me the feeling that he meant how a lot of us do. Hey, we're not friends when the gate drops.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, no, I don't talk to them in the pits or in the tunnel. Yeah. Those guys aren't my friends, which to me is pretty extreme. Sure. But if that's what he needs to get his head in the game, he doesn't have to be friends with any of them. And certainly taking them out at the start of a heat race is a way to make sure they're not your friend.
Yeah, but as you and I have
a bit nonsensical as far as, hey, you got a long career ahead of you where you're going to keep these guys. A lot of guys don't like Vince Freese, and it gets Vince Freese into a lot more trouble than he needs to be in.
Yeah, and as we've spoken with RJ and many others, like, they don't forget, right? Like, a year later, RJ's getting chased back, and it's just going to carry on. And I totally understand. I'm not here to be your friend. Cool, man. But you need a couple of them.
There's some value to be a diplomatic,
right?
Absolutely. When it's this close of a series and this small of an industry, there's definitely something to be diplomatic about it. And he fell immediately after he had come together with Jet. Either way, I mean, hey, man, if he wins the championship, it's a championship win. Whatever he needs to do to get his head in the game, we won't be talking about this in 2 weeks if he's got the number one plate. So
he's going to have to do something like that to Ferrandis.
I thought his move on Ferrandis in the main was great. I thought that was perfectly appropriate. I thought it was really awesome. Ferrandis did a great job of saving it. Was kind of unfortunate for Austin, but I thought that was exactly what he needed to do. He's definitely been executing his part of it.
But he's going to need help to win a title, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's completely taking Ferrandis out or Ferrandis have a bad race or people just passing him. It's going to be a hard fought battle for Forkner to actually get a title. So
I think if his speed is there come next weekend and this East Coast Championship stays as tight as it is, right? If we have Shane win this next East Coast round, we're going to see, I mean, it's going to be an amazing race. First off, the four of them with Shane and Chase, and then Dylan and Austin, but I could see a race, and it's not what I'm predicting with how much this aggression has been going on.
Yeah.
I could see a race where if Austin is able to put down the outright speed, that he wins, and then Chase and Shane fill that gap in there, and he gets the championship straight up.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how it's going to work out. I don't predict that, but I don't think that's off the table.
Yeah.
As far as the being diplomatic, not being egotistical, kind of what we were hinting at there, I think Eli Tomac did a great job of that in the 450 class. That first turn move between him and Cooper Webb got overlooked pretty easily. I know I brought it up to you, and we just replayed the footage a few times before coming on here to get a consensus on it. What do you take of it?
You and I, like you said, we have spoken about it. I am that guy of, hey man, like whatever it takes, right? As there's for sure a boundary of being dirty.
Sure.
And I get your take of the situation of where they were, just the danger that there was in this situation of off the start break check-in with at least 15 other dudes behind them.
Yep.
Not the smartest time to be break checking people.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that I truly believe that's the person Cooper is. Cooper wants it that bad that he's going to do anything it takes, whether that's right or wrong. Cooper's going to do whatever it takes. He will clean out Eli Tomac on the start of the race if that's what's needed. He's 25 points down. I need to make points right now. I don't have time to wait around. There's the guy right next to me. This is as good as any chance that I'm going to get to ultimately put him on the ground. Whether that's good, not good, that is what it's going to take.
Yep. I think so. I guess to add clarity for those that are listening that didn't notice it when it happened on TV, right? It's halfway through the first turn, coming to the exit of the first turn, that sweeping left. Cooper pretty clearly had the whole shot, but Eli was right there next to him on the outside. Cooper stomped the rear brake and slid the rear wheel. It looked to me like it was deliberate sliding the rear wheel out. It did make contact with Tomac's front wheel. Tomac almost went down, but saved it and dropped back in the field. I think what we understand is that Cooper may have said that it was unintentional, that he didn't really realize what was going on. To me, I know he's aware of his surroundings as a racer, and that brake sliding doesn't really make sense at that point in the track, right? So that plays into exactly the narrative that you gave of, hey, it's aggressive racing, trying to win the championship, doing whatever you can do. I agree. And I've never been in a championship hunt, so I can't totally speak to what is on the table and what isn't. My perception always as a racer, or my position, I should better say, is all for aggressive racing. You can take me out. I'm definitely going to take you out if you leave the door open. I'm not going to risk injuring you in a way that would be, hindering to your future. I mean, if I risk breaking your finger, oh, well, sorry, tape it and good luck next time. To me, takeouts on the start or in the first turn like that, there's a whole pack of 450 riders behind you. That's jeopardizing that guy's career right there, right? I mean, had he got run over by everybody, I'm not trying to be dramatic, but had he got run over by everybody, who knows? Might have missed the outdoors as well. So I feel like, race heads up for a second longer until they're a little bit more spread out, and then make your takeout.
Yeah.
Either way, didn't take him out. Eli fell back. It gave Cooper a big advantage, and he beat him in the race and made up more points. So
not many, but a few points. Yeah,
a few more, as much as he could, without being straight up faster. And I don't think he was faster. I think he was a little bit slower. So he made it work, and I can't balk at that.
For sure.
Good race strategy when you look at it that way.
Yeah. How about the other guy though, man? We not necessarily been dogging Kenny, but Kenny, where did that come from?
Yeah, we've been quick to point out his faults. So I've done some more analysis of that too. Kind of enjoying that side of watching racing now. I really think that the hard packed soil of this track, how loose it was, I think really played to Kenny's illness well, in the sense that he was able to be really patient and really methodical in his riding, smooth on the throttle, tight. He stayed really low in almost every turn, right? Using those bottom lines, getting out of the bumps. I think he was able to ride at about 80% of the effort that those other guys did, and still put down lap times that were comparable or better. Did you see there was a photo? I think Swap Moto Live put it out of it was Kenny's rear tire, close up of Kenny's rear tire right next to Eli's rear tire, and you can see the major difference in the way they ride. Kenny's tires still having, fresh nipples on the knobbies, and then Eli's, having some of the knobbies torn off.
Right.
So who knows the difference in compound and whatnot of the tire, but still, I think it shows the way Kenny rode that track was calm and patient in letting it come to him. I think had the track been real tacky, maybe the race would have been different. Maybe his fitness would have been a problem.
Yeah. And with that, like, that changes Cooper seeing Kenny in front of him changed Cooper's whole race, like, thought
strategy.
process too,
Strategy,
right? Like, okay, we've been here for 4 rounds. This was round 5. Kenny's hit about 10 minutes into the race. 10 minutes in, he's going to fade anyway. So I'm going to stay close, but not push. And this race is mine. And that it didn't work out that way.
I think so. I think when you're, 7 minutes into the race, they had a good pace going. They had a good gap behind them. If you're Cooper, it's like, hey man, I'm pushing to try to catch this guy and pass him. May as well chill out, right? So far, this guy's had 5, 10, 5, moto scores in Salt Lake. You're not expecting him to be able to run to the end.
Yep.
It's perfectly reasonable for Cooper to kind of settle there. And then it seemed like he made a push toward the end again, started trying a new rhythm through that middle rhythm lane and making up, maybe a quarter of a second a lap.
Yeah.
It was just too little too late. So kudos to Kenny for sure. I doubt that it was a strategy. I think he probably was, as awestruck as Cooper come the 20-minute mark. I don't imagine he knew that was happening either. Yeah. But yeah, and again, I don't, in this whole time, like you saying, we risk dogging him, but I think we've been pretty even across the board of pointing out weaknesses that are there that we can see. Yeah. And acknowledging that there's no lack of work or heart from Kenny. He's just dealing with some stuff. It's definitely not his work ethic. Hearing now that it's shingles and the pain that goes with that. Dude, who knows what he was experiencing that whole time too. So, I wonder how much faster he could have been potentially had he been healthy.
Yeah. But talking about those fireworks in that 250 class, our guest today, man, thrown in a couple fireworks of his own. And so I'm excited to welcome Michael Mosiman to the show with us. And here he is. What's up, Michael? How are you, buddy?
Yo. What's going on?
How are things out there? How are you doing?
I'm well. I'm pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, man. Hanging in there. Kind of steady goes the course for us back here. Not a lot of change on the home front. Getting ready for camp, which is exciting. And watching you guys race twice a week is pretty fun too.
Yeah. It's fun to race twice a week.
Yeah, just as we mentioned in the pre-show, or camp is right around the corner, and Zach and I are getting ready to head out to Texas to go love on some people and teach them a little bit about dirt bikes and hopefully a lot about Jesus.
Sick.
So
dang. When is it?
Camp is next Monday, so a week from yesterday.
Dang.
Yep. So coming up,
dude, that'd be crazy. I would love to go.
You coming?
You can't.
I would love to. Where is it?
You can. It's in Texas.
But where in Texas?
It's at Swan.
Are certain areas of Texas better for you than others?
Like if I can fly into the airport, hang out for a day, if it's like close, but if it's like freaking 4-hour drive from the airport, it changes things.
Hey, are we getting announcements right here that Michael's coming to the camp, Rev?
No, I don't think so. It's a cool idea at the moment.
Yeah, because we're racing Wednesday, right? And then Michael's racing Sunday.
Yeah.
Supercross is over. You could make it, man. We could make this happen.
Anyways, I have a meeting in Florida on Tuesday, but I could reschedule that.
Hey, all I'm saying is it's there. You're more than welcome. I will get you a ride from the airport to the track, no problem. You let me know.
That's hospitality right there.
But let's talk a little bit about racing, man. How have things been in Utah? It seems racing has been awesome. The West Coast brought some fireworks out, man, and obviously you're probably not super excited about your results, but you've been doing well overall.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. It's been wild. Even like, I think Zacho, he said it in the rig, and he's like, dude, the West Coast changed like the whole vibe of the whole thing. Like, we just came in guns blazing, like going ham. I mean, I remember like we're going out for the sight lap, you know, because we don't even get track walk now, and people are like all eager, and then there's green flag in first practice, it's already going nuts. Like people are just going insane. So it's definitely been something. But yeah, as far as like my own results, I don't know. I've been pleased with some of my riding, but also just like a little disappointed. I feel like I definitely have more to like get into podium position the other night, and then below it was like a real bummer. But I don't know. I'm kind of taking the bummer and calling it a fire in me, and so it's been motivating. And even just, you know, in the last, like in the rebound of that, as I get my body healthy again, like and ready to go next Sunday, I'm just like, I'm fired up. I don't want to hold back, and in some sense I feel like I have.
From my side of it, and I mean purely spectating from home, and I know how different that is than being there in person, and even being there in person from being on the track. But I mean, it does look like, when you say kind of passing that bummer side of it off as a fire and taming the fire, it does seem like you've had, I mean, this whole season really, but just in the last 2 rounds, like the little struggles that you've had in the main events seem like they've come from, or even the heat races have come from you being like racy, really racy. And hey, I'm going to fight for that position back right now, and I'm going to take it. And then that, you know, maybe not going perfectly and then causing mistakes. I feel like that's a way better position to be in right now in your second year than the opposite. You know, if the team is like, hey, Mike, we got to get some more intensity, quit laying over. That'd be a big problem going forward. Right now, it's like, dude, you're trying to win every race. Just chill out for a second. I think that's a good position for making mistakes, right?
Yeah, for sure. In this like break time, I've just gotten motivated, and just more so than I already am, and really bringing like intensity throughout like all of my riding. And I think as you grow in Supercross, like you can go intense for, you know, so often, but now like my fitness is there to where I can go intense the whole time. And it's like sometimes getting myself there. Like I feel like this past Sunday, I kind of paced myself at the beginning of the race, and I was like, oh, you know, some of these guys are fake, but it's like I don't have to pace myself, and my fitness is there. And so yeah, I think for sure I've been, you know, more aggressive, and just trying to get like the difference between where I'm at and where I want to be is not that much, but what it is it's getting every little bit out of the small sections, and it takes a lot of energy. You guys still got me? No?
Yeah, you're pretty spotty.
We're kind of losing you.
Dang it.
Audio seems okay though.
Yeah. Oh,
It seems okay.
What's that?
I mean, it's anyway.
We'll be able to do it. We're all right.
Are you off like the hotspot on a cell phone?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, so I don't know. It's been good. I feel like I've made a couple dumb moves. Like in the heat race, I had the heat race first weekend, like it was definitely going ham, and even like 5 turns in, like I was running in on McAdoo, and like I don't think we touched, but gosh, we got pretty dang close.
Yeah.
And I watched it back. I'm like, what are we doing? Like just sending it in there. So
yeah.
I don't know. Overall, it's been okay. It feels good to be racy.
It seems like it's been something too that's been, I mean, a positive earlier in the season too, right? Is that you were able to bring that heat. Right now, I feel like the West Coast, like you were saying, is a whole new energy to racing right now, and everyone on the West Coast seems to be doing that. I mean, right before you and McAdoo came together last week, we saw him get into Ferrandis in a really similar move. Like it wasn't overly aggressive to take him out. It was, hey, I was trying to make a pass and kind of lost it a little bit. But I mean, I remember you doing that with Forkner before this break. Like you've been a guy that I feel like came in this season ready to just fight really hard for every position. And I think we see that with Zacho as dude that can really drive your career forward quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
So
you
you
I don't know,
have
I just don't want to be a pushover, you know.
absolutely, like we've had that conversation with a number of people of not necessarily being a pushover, but why do I ride the way I do so hard and aggressive, and so many of them are as Christians, right? I'm doing my competitor a disservice if I am not giving God everything that I have, right? And giving God everything that I have equals me riding to my best ability and being aggressive and going in there and sometimes that means banging bars. That doesn't necessarily mean being dirty and T-boning people, but to give my very best to my competitors is to give my very best to God and to serve God in that way. So I believe it's expected in we as Christians are not to be a pushover and not to roll away when somebody hits me. Like I'm going to come back in next corner and give you a little love too.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Just that's something that, you know, we've talked about before, and something that, you know, I've always had in the back of my mind. And one thing, like, just looking at the character of Jesus, Jake Veneta said something. I was having a bit of a rough day. I had a crash this past weekend, and it was either before the heat race or the main. I'm not sure which. But I said, "Hey, Jake, like, can you pray for me, man?" And it was just a really good time where, like, I kind of was able to recenter, like, why I'm here, what I'm here for, what I'm doing. And he said to me, after we prayed, he said, Jesus stared death in the face and didn't flinch. He said, don't flinch. And dude, that was just like, yes, like, there is a heck of a race about to go on, and I'm not going to flinch.
That's awesome.
It was really cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
I used to listen to a song by Chris Tomlin when I would ride the spin bike before I'd go down for the night program. And it was there was a specific lyric I remember, and it was something to the effect of like, if our God is with us, who could ever stand against us? If our God is with us, who could ever stop us? And I remember just like in that mode, it was like, all right, like, it's gonna be brutal, but I'm gonna be all right in the long run. Like, I don't know if that means who can stop me on the track, because I wasn't really winning races, so a lot of people could. But like, in some sense, I'm a prosper through this. I'm gonna be all right. Yeah. That's huge. Have you been watching? I mean, I know I was big on watching the races back. Have you been watching the racing in the couple of off days? And if so, what do you think about? I mean, dude, a lot of takeouts going on by other guys. Some of them, to me, little nonsensical.
Yeah. So after this last weekend, like, we had the film of, like, me throughout the whole race.
Yeah.
And, like, straight away, really after, like, once it ended, Scuba, we watched the film together, and he just, like, pointed out some areas where I need better racecraft. Sure. And, like, I totally agree. I think that's where I lost it. Just managing the lappers kind of jacked me in the whoops a couple laps, and I feel like really cost me quite a bit. And then just some small dumb moves on my part.
When you say racecraft, you mean in the sense of like predicting the decisions they're going to make ahead of you when you're coming up?
Yeah, predicting decisions, or, you know, when to make a pass, when not to make a pass.
Yep.
You know, even like what's going on in my head based on the situation, you know, just to be able to manage the race like as best possible.
For sure.
Something that we see that Cooper Webb is, like, unreal at, you know.
Yeah.
Like, he just is always in the right place, right time, and making the correct move over and over, which is really unbelievable. But other than that, honestly, today it was like I was going back and watching just, like, some old Supercross. I watched some stuff from 2005 because I think Reed said something about that year with,
being his favorite. Yeah.
So I was like, dang, I need to go remind myself
that
how good
out.
that was.
He was giving Ricky fits that year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit. But dude, then I was bummed, man. I'm watching it back as, like, A2, and it's like the perfect battle, and Reed's right on him, and like I'm watching it like it's real time again, you know. And we're like halfway into the race, and it's the one where he like blitzing the whoops, and there's like a little step up, and he like almost gets too good of a blitz and like partially blitzes the step up lip, and then like crashes over the step up, and then I'm like, dang, I was like ready to see a good battle, like. So
that's funny.
But yeah, I saw that I was like 250 West highlights from this last round. I'm like, I don't want to watch that right now.
So you've been avoiding the last two rounds a bit. It sounds like.
Like I watched it initially, but now I'm like, dude, I don't know.
Yeah. No, there's been madness with. I mean, a ton of contact, way more aggressive racing than I think we've seen in a long time, and we've seen that, like Zach was saying to you, it sounds like we've seen that kind of perspire over into the 450 class. It's kind of bleeded in, and I feel like giving a little energy to everybody. It's been pretty awesome to see. What then? I guess if you're watching old timey races, what else? What is life like right now for you in Salt Lake this week? How has it been since you've been up there?
It's been nice. Yeah, it's been nice. I've been getting quite a routine down, just prioritizing, like waking up early and spending some time in the Word and in prayer. Just being here is really nice. I'm right by the Capitol, and I got a nice, like pretty nice view, and I have some upstairs and downstairs roommates, so that's a little interesting. We share a laundry room, and like you hear the door like open all the time. It feels like they're just walking in your place.
So you're in a place by yourself, not like a team house or anything?
Yep, solo. Airbnb. It's like $58 a night, so not too bad.
Nice.
And I'm like, I can see the Capitol like out my back window, so it's cool. I originally picked it because I had a basketball hoop in the back, but it's a little too slanted, and you know, Tom Jornet, he popped my basketball, so.
Are you an MTB guy? Have you been doing any mountain biking, or what have you been doing to stay active up there?
I like mountain biking, but I did not bring a bike out. So I've been doing running. There's like this path right by my place, and it's actually really cool. I wish a lot more cities and places would do it. But it's just like this pretty scenic road, and one way is like, it's like one way only for cars, and then the other lane is just for bikers and runners. And so I've been like running through that, and then it goes like down right by this creek, and then like ends in this super nice park. So it's been like pretty sweet, pretty solid. Besides that, I think I'm going to Park City this Thursday, but haven't been too crazy. Just kind of taking care of the body, hanging out with friends, and I've been doing a lot of birding, a lot of bird scooters all over the place. Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say like bird sighting. I could
Me
see
too. That's what
I could totally see him being like,
Michael,
I brought my binoculars, brought my home set of binoculars. I'm just checking out the birds.
That is not a bad idea.
See, both of us had the same. When you said that, both of us had the same reaction. Is like, that's not that far off of Michael's program.
No, it's right up your alley, dude. Jeez,
that's funny. With like this huge downtime, obviously you're back racing now. Like, what did that look like for you? Like, was life normal for you? Were you still training, all that kind of stuff?
So we were like training normal, not sure when everything's gonna restart, and there was a moment where they brought us in, like. There's one day at the track, it was crazy. It was like all of a sudden coronavirus got real for me, and I'm like, dang, this is like a legit deal. And it was like, all right, so this race got canceled. This race is probably going to get canceled. This one's canceled. And it was like yeah. You're kidding. And like when it just started affecting us, and it was like, oh, so-and-so might have it. And it was like, wow. And there was all this panic and so many rumors like around the shop. Oh, I hear the virus is able to, infect so many people, and it's like, and it's able to do this and that. And, just.
Absolutely. Yeah. There was a whole period there where there was just.
Viruses, it's like, doesn't matter how many people are coming against it, it's just going to kick their butt.
Yeah.
But there there was all sorts of rumors, and then they told us, they're like, hey, take 3 weeks off. And I'm just like, what do I do now? They're like, but it was
they being the team at that point said like 3 weeks off of riding, or they being like Feld saying like we got a while.
No, so at Baker's place, we all kind of had a team meeting.
Okay.
And so, you got, Jason and Zach and Coop and,
Sure.
all the TLE boys, and it's like, and RJ and stuff. And we're like, we just had a big team meeting to talk about it and to talk about, what's going on and what pretty much getting a consensus of what everyone wants to do.
Sure.
And it was, I don't know, there was like, 8 weeks or 12 weeks or something before the supposed next race, which was supposed to be an outdoor race.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, well, we don't need like 12 weeks of training and preparation. Like, we can do with less. And we weren't sure with how the break went, if we would get an off season later, if we would, just jump into the next season. Yeah. So we pretty much decided, instead of just like riding like every now and then, that we would take 3 weeks off of riding. And they were like, yeah, so call it off season, like check out mentally. And I got home that day, and the first thing I went to do, I pulled up outdoor film from to get ready. And I'm watching it. I'm like 5 minutes in, I'm like, this probably isn't mentally checking out. Like, I probably should like. And so I was really thrown off, because living in Florida is so synonymous with training. Like, it's all the same, and off season is so synonymous with travel and do nothing.
Yeah.
Rest. And so being in Florida and then being told you need to be on off season, I'm just like, how do I do
what does that look
like?
like?
Especially when you're in Florida and you enjoy spending your days. I mean, someone like yourself, right? You're talking about today. What did you do with your downtime? Like, you watched 2005 races. So you're like, oh, I got downtime. I'm going to watch outdoors. Like, that'll be fun. And then you're like, wait, maybe I'll get too much racing in my brain and get burnt out on it. I imagine it'd be really difficult too, like actually letting the stress or like kind of focus entirely go, being that you are in the middle of a season. Like, you do have results right behind you that will in some way affect the results you have coming up. You're still continuing that. I bet that was difficult to grapple. Were you able to kind of check out for a week or two, or did you just decide to watch outdoors anyways and not tell Alden?
So what I did is I was like, well, what I'm probably, it was weird for a little bit there, but then I was like, what is, synonymous and goes with off season that I could maybe help integrate is eating sweets.
Nice. You normally have that sweets week, right?
Yeah, I don't eat sweets all year. And so like, by the time off season comes around, I'm like, let's go. Yeah. And so I was like, and I talked to Brownie, and I was like, yo, what do you think like about this? He's like, yeah, you probably should do that. So I didn't go too crazy, but I did have some, ice cream or whatever. Dude, so my roommates, they got a hold of it. They bring me like
every day.
Oh, they brought me like this case of donuts. I'm like,
yes,
not, dude. The first one, it went down. It disappeared so quick. It was not good. And then
the
it was
first
like,
case.
No. Well, hey, the case didn't. I mean, it didn't last the longest, but yeah. My buddy, he was like, dude, Mosiman is on track. Like, this is not good. Like, but so I ate some sweets. I had never seen any Star Wars. I watched the whole Star Wars series.
Oh, nice.
And I learned how to play piano.
Oh, okay, that's cool. You should have led with that, man.
Yeah, I know.
For the case of donuts.
Yeah, but
that's way cool.
It was pretty wild.
And then you went at the end of the 3 weeks. Then you went back to a pretty regimented program and started getting ready for knowing Supercross at that point.
So we get told like 3 weeks, right? It's supposed to be off season.
Yeah.
And so they're like, check out mentally, right?
Yeah.
Well,
eating your sweets, doing your piano.
the only thing we didn't do was ride.
Yeah.
And so now we're in the gym and we're still road biking, and our road bike rides, they were like harder than ever.
Yeah.
So I show up, I'm first day, I'm like thinking like, oh, we're just like off season, like, gonna cruise this ride. Then it was like hammer, like we're averaging like 22.
So it was like a boot camp week out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm like, what happened to
I do not do this on the off season. Just so I'm very, very clear. This is not okay.
I imagine the combo
and
of ice cream and donuts.
I just had a carton of donuts.
Bro, sleep schedule also out the window. I mean, I gotta get these, Star Wars movies in somehow. So like, it's like having some sweets and like staying up late, and then I like still gotta wake up early, go knock out this ride that's like way harder than usual, and then like recover the rest of the day. Yeah. It was pretty funny.
Did you find did it re-spark your excitement to ride again, get back on the dirt bike after that, or was it not that long of a break? Oh yeah. Yeah.
Once we were like 3 weeks was up, it was like I am ready to go ride like
cool.
Anything. Like I just wanted to, do something, and so it was good to get back. We did started riding outdoors, like no clutch, no brake, and only riding like 2 times a week to start out with, but
sure.
It was a big difference.
Yeah, it's crazy looking back on it to think of how long it really was, right? I mean, you say we took 3 weeks off, and to me, I'm like, oh, like that was a decent portion of the break. In reality, you had over 3 months of not racing, 4 months, I think, right about. That's wild, man. It's or I guess West Coast, you had even longer than that, huh?
It was like beginning mid-February was our last race.
Yeah. Okay, so like 4, yeah. No, and just going through those seasons of the pandemic, right? Of like, man, things are starting to pause. The world is starting to change. And then really rapidly, it started to affect us all on a personal level. And, it happened worldwide. So it hit everybody at once. But once it was like, hey, your place is shut down or your activity is shut down, you're not doing this anymore. Yeah. And then just having that conjecture around it of, could be millions and millions of people are going to suffer from this. It was a really freaky time, really weird. And then on top of that, managing like the future of your career had to have been just so much stress.
Yeah. How did you guys manage it, or would you guys like grow? Or
for me, I was in New York City, and so we saw it coming for a while. We were talking about it as soon as it started to hit the news in January. And kind of realized that our school was more than likely going to have an outbreak at some point, right? Like being in the midst of Manhattan. It's not a huge college, but the college is so intertwined with the city. It was like, hey, soon enough, we're going to have an outbreak here. And then myself and a number of other people started kind of questioning why we were waiting for that. Like the school is staying open until we have an outbreak, and then it seems like they're just going to shut down. So that was pretty stressful. We had to keep going to classes and stuff. And then soon enough, they just before spring break, they switched everything over to online classes. And then once everyone left for spring break, they just informed everyone that there was no need to come back. So for me, that meant in like a day and a half, because I booked a flight to come back and visit my family for spring break. And then I realized that I'm graduating, or I have graduated now, but was going to graduate. So for me, that was like, oh, move out now then. So I just packed up my whole apartment in a day. And then the flight that was going to be a trip ended up just being me moving back to California. So it was pretty chaotic, but worked out. And then, I finished out school online and I've just been home since.
Dude, so like you graduated.
Yeah, I'm a graduate, bro. I got a degree.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. Yeah.
Savage.
Yeah. But John's had a pretty different experience with the virus than I have, right? I mean, it's because it hasn't been quite as locked down in that sense.
Yes, but at the same time, you gotta know that I've got 3 boys in school.
Yeah.
So schools got shut down. We started doing homeschool stuff, and things slowed way down here at Paddock as well. As far as like order cells and camps, not knowing if we're going to have them and all that kind of stuff, because who really knew what the future held at the time. So yeah, I mean, we started working 3 days a week in here, 2 to 3 days a week in the office, and just trying to keep things running. But as far as my family goes, like everything was I try to keep everything as normal as possible. We're still going bike riding, doing other things, doing school, but at home. So we had a lot of flexibility. I mean, with you guys doing homeschool, you kind of know you could run your own program in a way, and do school when we wanted to. Honestly, I took advantage of it. I loved it. I loved having my kids at home, and being able to go out and do things that we don't normally do during the year. Like I said, go ride bicycles, go play baseball together, rather than them going to practice with their teams and all that kind of stuff. But there's most definitely some precautions taken in the early stages of, hey, there's no need for all of us to go to the grocery store. But it didn't change our lives dramatically as a family. I really enjoyed it. Like on a personal note, I got to spend a lot of quality time with my family, which I truly enjoyed, and honestly might change the future of our family going forward of schooling and stuff. And we might just go homeschool from here on out, just for that reason.
Michael, were you homeschooled?
I was homeschooled from like 6th grade on.
I was as well. I started halfway through 6th grade, and I honestly, I think it's what I intend to do when down the road. I mean, we'll see how the public school system, kind of transforms before I have children. I'm not anticipating anything too soon, but I really enjoyed that experience. And I thought, to me, I feel like the biggest thing you get from public schooling is the socialization.
Yeah.
Right. The academics and the curriculum stuff you can get done anywhere. And so if you have, kids that are engaged in athletics or, socially kind of outgoing already, just get them out in the world and engaging with other people and different people. Because, the public school system just keeps you in that little hub of kids that and some of them go down a bad path, and that can lure kids the wrong way. I'm a big advocate of homeschooling at this point, especially now having graduated from where I did. I feel like I have a little bit of strength behind that argument.
Yeah, to go down that road a little bit, I totally agree at this point. I've always been kind of pro homeschool for the correct reasons. Just being real, but at the same time, like understanding parents, right? Like my wife works full time, I work full time. Obviously, I'm able to move my schedule around. The kids can even come to my office and work, do homework here. So we have some flexibility, but it's every family can't do it.
I agree.
But I do strongly support the homeschool thing if you can do it, and you're able to get some type of school structure and keep kids accountable for their schoolwork and all that kind of stuff, and don't fall like a year behind or 6 months.
I cheated. I cheated.
And let their
so
sisters
much.
do their homework. Or
yeah,
whatever.
My sister did 95% of it, and the 5% I did, I cheated on.
Jeez.
But I still am an advocate for it because somehow I still learned enough to,
Hey, as far as school goes, you've done way better than me. So
yeah, I feel like I got a little bit of steam behind me these days. Yeah. No, but I mean, go ahead, Michael.
That was one thing that was cool though. Like during quarantine, is coming home and living in a neighborhood and just seeing like all the kids out playing and the parents, and it was just like, it just was a cool thing to see. And just to think about like how many kids are getting to spend time with their dad and mom, and how these families, like they don't usually get that time. And it's like, even in the summer, right, like parents still have to work, like kids might be home and around more so, and so just to see like those two come together is like, this is probably going to have a lot of good come from it.
I think so. I mean, there is a flip side to that, of course, but staying on the positive, I think, like John was saying, for a lot of families, the school system functions as a necessary daycare, right? As well as education. As soon as places of employment were shut down, like that came with major economic struggles, but increased family time, for a lot of people. I've heard a lot of people throw that out as a silver lining. Certainly. Yeah. For you being in Florida, just donuts and biking, maybe not the same silver lining, but I'm glad to hear that seeing it brought you joy. Yeah.
That's going to bring us to our probably beyond midpoint of the show.
We have yet to hit 30
hit
minutes,
30 minutes
with this
for
30-minute mark. It's never been 30 minutes, and I don't think it ever will.
Yeah, I kind of cut that out because I don't think it's ever been close. But we're just going to call this, as we have, our devotional dig, which was supposed to be at 30 minutes. But we're going to dive into the word with our devotional dig, with Michael choosing his favorite Bible verse in the moment, and sharing that with us.
Jesus book.
Michael should read it out of the Pigeon Bible for us.
Oh no.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, so I've been kind of just really digging into Matthew, and it's been super, super awesome. But my favorite Bible verse, it's a little tough to say all time because there's just so many good ones. But like at the moment, it's Matthew 10:8, and particularly like the end bit of that verse. It says, "Freely you have received, freely give." And Jesus, he's given this principle to the disciples as they go on their like short missionary journey to Israel. But it's just like, freely you have received, freely give. And that principle, and as it just reigns so true in my life, and like I've received so much grace from God. And so now like I'm to freely give that grace. Like I've received so much like help, even like financially, right? Like from parents that have, blessed me in different ways. And it's like, so now I can just be like freely give that. And I've freely received so much time that people have invested into me, and now I can freely give that. And there's just so many different ways that I feel like I've been given so much. And so it's not like for me to like hold on to and like hoard, but rather it's like, no, freely you receive, freely give. And I think it's been some of the funnest times to give. It's a blast. And so that, I don't know, it just reigns true on like so many different things. It's not just like, oh, like, freely, it's not all monetary, it's like, it's time, it's people even listening. Like so many people have listened to me. It's like I've received that, so now I can give, I can listen and like care for people, and it's just the best.
In the God sense, right? It's huge. Just, freely you have received. Like the idea that the gift being Jesus and his sacrifice here was free. That was something that was so hard for me to actually realize. And not to speak into your life, but from what I saw kind of when you were growing as a baby Christian, it seemed like it was difficult for you too, right? Hey, we got to strive for this. We got to achieve this. I got to be worthy of this. This is a massive gift. I feel like I got to a certain point in studying the Bible that I finally understood how big Jesus' sacrifice was on the cross. And once I realized the weight of that, I had a lot of pressure on my shoulders to live up to it, or to earn it, or to be worthy of wearing that label. But it doesn't say you have earned, so freely give, or you deserve, so freely give. Freely you have received. You're unworthy where you're at, but you've been given this grace from God. And then for us to give it in the same way, to people that are least deserving. You don't just give your time to your kid or to the person. And I know you, and I know your heart, and I know you're not like that. Like, it's not, hey, just that guy wearing the suit is going to get my free time. That guy on the corner that, needs someone to talk to is as well. I think that's huge. And it's been awesome to see you go through that journey also.
Yeah. So many times this verses like this become money talks, and it, sure, if that's where your heart needs to be, that's where your heart needs to be. But it goes so beyond finances, and we are given so many gifts by God, and we are greedy. We are greedy individuals that want to harness and hold all these things that we have been freely given. But this tells us, no, don't hold on to these things for your own. Do not like just hide in a corner or hide in your house and just hoard these things. Give them freely. And so many times, myself included, we go, man, I just kind of like, I like this, right? Like I want to cherish this. And we don't let everybody see what that thing is, which God is giving you that gift to be able to be used, right? To give to other people, to further his kingdom, to let his light shine through you by giving you this gift. But by you being greedy and holding it to yourself, you are not honoring God for this gift that he has given you, because nobody can see it except you. And there's no reason to give you this gift if others are not going to be seeing it, and you proclaiming it to Jesus and giving it over to Jesus and say, hey, only reason that I have X, Y, and Z is because God has given me this. God has given me the ability to do X, Y, and Z. God has given me the finances to bless these people or whatever.
Or the talents, right? And the skills as an individual. I mean, I think you can see that, right? And a lot of the people we've been talking to just through this podcast so far, that really feel like their calling is to ride a dirt bike, as small as that is in the scale of the world, and how silly that is. And it's like, dude, we're going to ride, like Trey used to say, we're going to ride dirt bikes and what he said, riding dirt circles. We're going to go riding dirt circles this weekend. Come watch. But dude, like you somehow can, if that's what you're given, you can share that, and it can be profound, and it can fit into this verse here, which is a part of a calling to go find lost sheep and to call them to his kingdom. So, I mean, I think Michael is headed down that path.
What was that, Michael?
Just you guys got me?
Yeah.
Cool. Just to John, your point, like how it's not about money, like in context, it's not about money. He's telling the disciples, freely you have received, freely give. What have they received? They didn't receive money.
Yep.
They received the life of Jesus's truth and teaching. Like they've received a relationship with him. They're like, they've received this message of this coming kingdom that's going to make all things new, that's going to unravel the sin and darkness that like is just so entangled in this world. That like they've received this news. Like that's what they're supposed to freely give. And it's never about money, but like this principle can also be about money, like if that's how if that's one of the ways we receive, right? And I think it's crazy to just even, it goes into thankfulness, but when we receive what we have as a gift from God, and if what we have is if it's a gift from God, then therefore it's also to be cared for by God. And if it's God's gift to be cared for by God, then it also is to be available to others. So it's like, if it's God's gift, he's taking care of it, and it's available to others, then guess what? I don't have to worry one bit. Like there's no part in me that like, I just have to keep my hands open, right?
Yeah.
And keep my heart open. And someone said this, and it's pretty profound. Zach, it's the Sea of Galilee that flows into the Jordan River and then to the Dead Sea.
I should know, but I'm with it.
Something like that, yeah.
So
anyways, they're all near each other. I know that.
Perfect. So like there's a Sea of Galilee, I think. Someone can fact check me. But it's like this super healthy like body of water that's got a lot of life in it, and then you got the river, the Jordan River, which is just like super lively. There's so much vegetation, and then it flows into the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea is like a cesspool. Like it is like dead still. It's gross. Like you don't want to be a part of the Dead Sea at all. Like no one's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go swimming, boating on the Dead Sea. Like no. And the difference between like the Sea of Galilee and the Dead Sea is that the Dead Sea is not pouring out into anything. There's no drainage, right? It's like the Dead Sea in this context. It's like he's like, freely I've received, now I hoard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so because like this body of water doesn't have any river, doesn't have any flow out of it, and what we could interpret as giving to others of our time, talents, effort, care, love, money, whatever that is, it's like he ends up dead. Like the sea is dead. Like, and that outpouring of our love and our care, I think is so important to our refilling.
Yeah.
And yeah, someone said that to me. I was like,
No, dude, that's an amazing. I've pulled up an image now, and so yes, your geographical layout is correct. Sea of Galilee runs down the Jordan River into the Dead Sea. But yeah, like you're saying, I mean, it's stagnant water, right? It's being still in your faith, even. You know, hey, you can have life poured into you, but if you're still in that, if you are not actively, not only taking in that life, but also pouring it out and being a cup that can overfloweth, right?
absolutely.
To use the old English.
Yeah. I think that's awesome.
It's great.
That's really gives me a
You're passionate
visual at
about this
least.
stuff. You can just wind me up and I'll just run. Like, too good.
It's funny.
Dude, I studied early Christianity. I should know more about these regions. You just outmatched me. That was a big part of my schooling.
I'm going off someone that said something sometime, all right?
Secondhand quote. Still.
That's funny.
No, I really like that a lot. I'll share that.
Yeah.
Retweet.
Make sure you give Michael credit who could give somebody else credit.
Yeah.
Right on. You got what, another 4 days out there in Salt Lake? One more round. What do things look like for you when you depart and go back to Florida?
Man, I'm looking forward to. I have just such an amazing group of friends in Florida, so I'm really looking forward to just being back with them. I'm looking forward to getting back to like racing, like getting back to outdoors and like that whole deal, and kind of stoked. It's not a particularly long break like this last one we had, so it'll be a good amount of time, but I don't know, I'm just excited. I think it's gonna be cool to start at Ironman. I like that track. And I don't know. I just like after racing here and getting back to it, it's like it just lights the fire on you. Like someone said to me the other day too, like greatness is a choice, like to be chosen every day. It's like you don't choose it on race day, like you choose it every day. And it's like, I think when there is like what I consider like a failure, like last night, or the other night, just being in third and then boom, like I'm in the fifth, like that's not okay. That's not, I mean, I'm not even aiming for third. Like I want more than third. And so like, if I'm getting knocked out of third, then we need to step some stuff up. And so just that opportunity again, to go back racing and to have a clean slate outdoors to be great is like a really exciting opportunity.
That's cool. Do you guys have any news other than the first 2 rounds that are scheduled? Like,
I wanted to ask, I want to jump that. I want news, but I also have been hearing that Loretta's might be an outdoor national. And it sounds like it's going to be. How do you feel about that? And what I've been hearing is that they're going to make a whole new track but on the same property, because there's no way they're using Loretta's, right? That would be a joke.
Why not?
You want to race? Did you ever race Loretta's on a big bike?
I mean, yeah. I raced Loretta's like 10 years in a row.
On a big bike, though.
But on a big bike, like on a Super Mini, that track's sick. On a 250F and then on a 450, it is a joke. On a 450.
That's true.
Like you click third once.
Maybe twice.
Okay.
I think I raced 2 or 3 times there.
And you could see an outdoor national happening there, and you'd be like, okay.
I mean, honestly, you're bringing back some memories now. When you bring up 254 video, like it does, you are a little fast for that track. So, so from what I hear, like it is a likely possibility, and by a likely possibility, I mean I'm working on it.
Yeah, and like John said, I think it's on the schedule.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm excited to go back there and be a part of it.
Sure.
I think it's gonna be cool for everyone.
Yeah.
I don't have too many concerns as far as like what the track will be like. What I don't hope that I hope we have a new prep for the pro guys, because the way a pro track shapes up and a way an amateur track shapes up is totally different.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not trying to go into a corner with like 65 bumps. Like it just will throw everything off.
Yeah.
And that's my only thing that I'm like, oh man, I hope it's not like I hope it's not just like we're an intermission show. Like,
yeah. Yeah. They're running the whole amateur week and then they just take off the weekend.
Throw you guys in there.
Never know. Yeah. I was pretty, and I feel like I take the negative approach maybe too often. But on that, I was like, dude, that just sounds like a ridiculous move to me. And then I had heard that maybe they were going to use, because I know there's an area on the other side of the creek where they used to host a GNCC track.
Yes.
And maybe they still do for the quads and all that.
Yeah.
So I think they have a lot of land over there that they can use. And if that's the case, I think it'd be awesome because there's so much nostalgia for everyone to be at that facility. I think amateur guys would probably still try to attend. I don't know what the relation is to when the national is, the amateur national. But either way, I think that would be a pretty awesome idea and would be a cool thing to keep on the schedule going forward, not just for this year.
If done right?
If they put it on that,
if they're racing the amateur track,
it'll be ridiculous.
Tough.
It'll be a crapshoot.
I'm going to throw something out there, and Zach might not be pumped, but he says Amart or Jeremy, one of the two brothers, could probably win on a super mini.
Yeah, if they host it there, dude, I would pick one of the Martin brothers to ride a super mini and be a contender.
Yeah, I mean, good.
Yeah. Sometimes those super mini kids are fast. I remember when AC was there, he wanted like A-class lap times.
I think Amart said he weighs like 135 the other day.
That's crazy.
I mean,
you
can pull it.
Yeah. So my last year there, I raced 250 and 450A. And I remember in 450A, I only rode a 450 because the start was long enough that it made a difference.
Yeah.
But from then on, I'm pretty sure I was slower on the whole track, like lap time wise. I think it was slower on the 450 throughout the whole race. And dude, it was just so hard to ride because, like you said, the way that track develops, they rip it so deep and that dirt's so spongy, it gets those big bumps that on a mini bike you can kind of jump through as a rhythm or rock through. On a big bike, it just packs in and then unloads.
Yeah.
And on a 450, with engine braking and the inertia of the bike, with how heavy it is, that was compounded tenfold. And so you're already down to first gear, and then you hit that and you get bucked, and then you sit into the turn, and it's just arm pump city. So
Michael's going back right now, going, I don't know.
Michael's gonna have a petition out by tomorrow. Yeah. On the 250 though, it's not horrible. I don't think it's not great.
Other than that, have you heard? I know they have 2 rounds scheduled, the first and second round. You hear anything else? Like, it's hard for me to believe that you guys are going to race in July 18th, and there's 3 rounds literally on the schedule, the first, second, and last races. That's crazy. What's that?
What's the last one they put out there?
Paula or Fox Raceway.
Really? Because I feel like I thought I didn't see that one on the tentative schedule I got.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I know I saw Thunder Valley was, so a lot of the dates, like Millville, I think is a chance. They just don't know when the date is.
Well, that's the thing. They have all these races, like tracks on the schedule, but they don't have any dates. Like, what are we going to do?
Well, they don't want to, give us false hope and then change it up again. Like, I support.
Yeah, but
that.
they got the first and second round scheduled.
I'm a harsh reality within this is that COVID transmission rates are climbing again in like 6 or 7 states right now, at least, higher than they ever have been. So the chances of economic shutdown in certain areas is probably pretty high. So it would be difficult to schedule anything.
Sorry to talk over you. The thing is outdoors is so fan driven, financially.
Ticket sales,
ticket sales. It has to be fan driven. So those places have to be open, and facilities have to be able to hold fans, or there's a lot of money going out and not enough coming back in to do the outdoor season.
I have a hard time believing they'd shut everything down again.
I hope not. But as Zach said, the numbers are going up, but things still are not opened all the way up. So to have a professional event, even if it is outdoors like motocross is, it's still put into the same category as a supercross, let's say, or a baseball game, football game. And those,
then it probably doesn't happen.
exactly. So I mean, this is just me talking. I don't have the insight with Davey or anything like that. But I have a hard time thinking that it's going to be able to sustain itself without fans.
Hey, Loretta's, if there's an amateur race there, I would have a very, like Loretta's, and then even if there's a pro race there, I have a very hard time believing that any social distancing would like really happen.
Correct.
I agree. Yeah.
Like it would be really tough.
I was just at a BMX race with my son this weekend, and and the same thing at camp, right? Like we're gonna have precautions put out there. Hey, mask and social distancing and all that kind of stuff, but ultimately it's on you, right? Like, and there's probably a few thousand people at this BMX race. And the promoters did a good job as far as like the staging areas and the way that you go up to the starting line. They did a good job there, not letting parents in and not, doing what they needed to do. But as far as like the crowd and like all that kind of stuff, there was nothing. There was no social distancing. It was shoulder to shoulder in certain areas, and that's how it's going to be at a motocross or at Loretta's, because there's no way to patrol that many people.
Yeah.
The kind of reality of that, also, I guess, a harsher side of that, whatever you want to call it, and another side of that kind of self-policing policy on a more mass level, right? I know in Southern California in the last few days, something like 2,000 restaurants that have been opened have had health inspections to make sure they were following the necessary statewide guidelines. And approximately 1,000 of them were either cited or told to close down and restructure to be able to reopen. So about 50% had some sort of repercussion for not meeting the standard. So, I mean, with that, like we will see, I think at a certain point, if it goes on, and I'm not saying this counter to your point, John, but I think kind of attaching to your point, if the season were to kind of run with this loosey-goosey program of, try not to stand next to the guy when you shout Redbud because you're going to spray phlegm all over him. No one at Redbud's going to do that. So after a number of weeks, eventually they're going to be like, all right, dudes, no more coming. Yeah. Hopefully that's not the case. But I mean, with that, it makes sense that they're not attaching dates to anything but the events that it seems like maybe, Davey or the sanctioning body have the most control over and can put the most guarantee on, which I think is why they added Loretta's to the program. It's his influence there. Yeah, it'll be exciting. Hopefully we go racing. It'd be awesome to see. Sounds like Michael's excited to race.
Yeah. I put a big.
Honestly, I was thinking it was all signs of go up until
we put.
I think it is
dagger in there.
I think it is as far as the industry goes, and that's something John and I've been talking about for a few weeks. Even when we were getting ready to come back racing, it was like, all systems go, and then we were like, yeah, unless this kind of huge thing that's looming over the whole country kicks back up, and that's what everybody's afraid of. And hopefully that's not the case. I'm not trying to be an alarmist by any means, but just rational about it.
Won't it always kick back up? Because once a virus is here, like it doesn't really go away.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to go down this huge road of COVID, but yes, it will always be here for the rest of our lives. Your guys' kids, my kids, will be more than likely talking about COVID or whatever they're going to call it, coronavirus, just like we do the flu. And by that time, as our kids are adults, it's going to be just like that. Again, I'm not a doctor, but that's what I foresee in the future is this is with us for the rest of our lives. And it will end up being very similar to the flu, down the road. Right now, it's way different because, it's new and we don't have any immunity to it. And everybody it can get it. So yeah, like I said, I see in the future this being very, very similar to the flu and just another like disease or virus, whatever we want to call, I guess not disease, but virus, that we will live with for forever. It's just going to be a bigger deal for the next 10 years or whatever it might be. I don't really know, because it is pretty stinking contagious.
And has a slightly higher death rate, right? So I think right now, I mean, it's obviously come down a bit as testing's improved. which I mean means it's always been there, right? But we've seen evidence that it's, not as deadly as we originally thought. But yeah, I think, I mean, at least for the next year and a half or so, right, at the bare minimum, things are going to have to be very different as we wait for a vaccine, and then it will kind of come more parallel to the flu, it sounds like, hopefully. But yeah, like you said, Michael, I mean, there will be flu seasons, right? But middle of summer is not really a flu season. Yeah. So when it's kicking up in July, it's like, ooh, we better pump the brakes before December comes. Otherwise, we're going to have a real storm here.
Yeah.
So I mean, it makes sense that we would still kind of get off the gas at the very least. And I know a lot of places are doing that. They've started to open up or starting to shut back down some stuff, beauty parlors and things like that. It sucks because, I mean, obviously we're all tired of being in here, cooped up, but looking forward to getting back to things. How are you right now? So, I mean, let's switch to positive. I'm going to do a hard switch. You're in a place that is very outside, very clean air, very nice. You have a few days until you race again. What is mentality, let's say 20 minutes ago, before we went down this negative COVID route and bummed you out? Mentality about this last round that you have coming up. What are we thinking? I mean, I know you want to win races, but is that it? Going for the shootout, going for the win?
There's nothing to lose.
Okay.
I want to give my all, and I want to be proud of my ride.
Okay.
Like, I don't want to hold back.
Yep.
I don't want to play it safe. I don't want to even, like, I don't know, like, I want to see everything I got. And so what that ends up being, I think it, could be really good. I know what I'm capable of. Like, I've seen it in practice. Like, I ride with Coop. I ride with Zach. One thing I'm going to say, Zacho before this, like, Salt Lake was struggling, like, really? struggling. He had 2 good days of riding. Like, there was a day, like, it was getting bad. And he was like, arm pump, whatever, fatigue.
I'm out.
And, like, didn't finish his moto.
Yeah.
Really?
And then he comes on and he's crushing it. I'm like, that's unreal. That's unreal.
He's like Coop with that, right? He's just a mental warrior. Like, you put him up against the blocks and he's swinging.
This guy just went through like major back injury.
Yeah.
Like, big crash.
Yeah.
And, ribs, I mean, the whole deal. Like, pretty sure he's hit his head. And now, like, he's coming back from it, but then he's also got, like, retirement kind of looming. And then he was doing terrible, like, riding wise. Sure. He's supposed to be preparing for the Supercross, but then they're, like, almost ready to not show up at all.
Yeah.
And then
podiums.
And then he has, like, 2 good days of riding, shows up and is crushing it. It's like,
yeah.
Are you kidding me? Like, just the mental strength to pull through that. And then now he's, like, solid. It's sick.
But so when you practice with those guys, you feel like you're there, you're in the game, and so you want to carry that to the race. Is what you're saying, and that's what you expect to see. Would you say then, like, I mean, we talked about the last 2 weeks, and you said kind of this Wednesday, right? Or was it Sunday? I've lost track of the day. Sunday. This Sunday you raced. Was your last race was on a Sunday? Yeah. You said you were a little bit bummed with it, but maybe because you kind of paced yourself more than you should have early in the race. Other than that, I mean, you're racing, it seemed like from halfway, it seemed like you were fighting for tooth and nail.
But you're
looking for more precision in the riding, or what's the difference there?
It's a good question.
Sorry, it doesn't have to be a quiz.
I think there's some setup to get better with. And then I think maybe just a little bit racecraft, like,
gotcha.
The end of the race with the lappers, I got caught up, and I mean, it's not much. It's not much.
I ask because I believe I see the vision. I see the dream.
Yeah.
I've seen you ride.
Yeah. And
go down heaters.
I think that's what's one of the toughest things. It's like when, I have been working so hard, I have got, and then it's like, oh, boom, we're in podium position. Like, pretty solid. Like, that's where we're aiming for.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like,
sure.
Yeah. Well, it is. I'm sure it's tough, but from the outside, like, things are looking solid, right? And you're there. You're competing for wins, and whether it's, leading races, right? And you're right there. So just honestly, like you mentioned Cooper and Zach, and that mental game of man, just knowing and believing that you belong there is more than half the battle. And just being there and showing yourself time and time again, and honestly pushing sometimes beyond your comfortability of where that level is, and if we aren't able to push that level to see where my breaking point is, it's going to be hard to go to any type of level that we need, right? Where is that edge? Where is that edge, and how far can I push to that edge or beyond that edge? And now I have a new edge, and that's how those people start getting there, right? And truly believe that, hey, no matter what situation I'm in, I could push longer and harder than everybody else on this track. So I think you're in
all
good
it takes
headspace.
is once to do it.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
Yeah, we see that with Cooper. And I mean, it's sick to see that. I mean, you are racing every time you're on the track, right? Like, that's the whole thing. That's how you get there.
So
yeah.
I would know because I have done pretty much. No, I won an LCQ one time, so I know what it's like to take the top step, my man.
I got 2-time defending LCQ champion this year, so
Yeah, I know what it's like to look up at that crowd and say, "Yeah, I crossed the line first, boys." What's it to you?
Yeah.
Hey, Michael, not to mention when he did that, he did a fist bump.
I did not. I did not fist pump. I didn't fist pump.
I whipped. I did a solid whip. So
I did a tear off because I thought that was like the casual, like, oh, I don't care, I'm good. Made the main tear off. I should have fist pumped. In hindsight, I wish I fist pumped. I mean, I'd put that photo on my wall now. Like having gone to school and just gone a completely different path, have a photo on my wall, tell my kids, I say qualifier. I wouldn't say LCQ. I want a qualifying race. That's an accurate enough description.
Yeah.
Jeez. I mean, my youngins would be so proud of me.
Yeah, hey, 10 years, 10 years down the road, you won the heat race, 20 years down the road,
he won a main.
Dude, I won a race. I won a race. Yeah. Yeah. Eventually, I'll just say the name of the stadium. My win.
I won in Anaheim.
The trouble is, I have to just gradually unfriend all of you dudes before then, so no one tells my family the truth.
That's funny.
We'll back you up. We'll all be washed up too. So
I might be dead.
That'll be by that time. Michael will have been undefeated.
That's funny.
Yeah,
for sure.
But Michael, that's going to bring us to the end of our show, man. We're every show we finish up with a final fun 5 questions for our guest, dude. Just kind of to just have some fun and see where your brain is. So, you ready for that? You good with that?
I think so.
All right. Okay, number 1, all-time favorite movie.
Oh,
Star Wars. Star Wars now?
American Sniper.
Good movie, quality movie.
That's the one with Mark Wahlberg?
No.
No, that's the one with Chris Kyle, right?
Yes.
Is that his name? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The true story.
My genre of movie is based on a true story. So anything based on a true story, like I'm pretty keen.
Yeah. That movie's sick. Yeah, my bad.
Yep.
Have you seen Act of Valor?
Yes.
No.
Pretty similar. I bet you'd dig it. If you like American Sniper, I think you'd like Act of Valor. Also based on a true story, I believe.
How about Lone Survivor? That's the one
that's the Mark Wahlberg one. Yeah.
Lone Survivor's legit.
We'll send you some links, buddy.
Yeah.
We're doing this afternoon.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, you could have a movie night, man.
He doesn't work here, but that's all right.
That, and we're gonna Postmates you a box of donuts.
Yeah.
Hey, no way.
All right. Now that you've spent some time in both California or Florida. California's just home, right? Like,
but only because Northern California exists.
Oh, really? So is it NorCal specifically?
Yeah, if it's Southern California, Florida, it's Florida every time.
Gotcha. So like home is where it's at.
California, you get such a broad spectrum.
Because California gives them both. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, you really like. It's pretty tough to go wrong with California.
All right. Okay. You ever cried in a movie?
Yes.
Can you remember what it was?
Drive.
What was it?
Rightfully so. Passion of the Christ.
Passion.
Passion.
Oh.
All
Is
right.
that the only movie you've cried in?
Yeah.
There might have been one more.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't cry like in life at all. Like I just don't cry. In movies, I cry like a chick flick will get me, man. Like they'll fall in love at the end and it'll be like serendipity
Zach's like,
after this like great meet cuter. And I'm like, oh my God, like they really love each other. Oh my God. And I just start, it comes out of me. And it's pretty bad.
There is some seriously good life lessons and stuff to be learned in movies. You guys seen the movie Big?
Big? Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the one with Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, what a great movie.
I wouldn't cry from that one.
No, you wouldn't cry, but summarize it. I mean, it's still a good movie because you go, it's a movie about a kid wanting to be older, but then he gets older and he's like, oh man, I wish I had the life I like had when I was a kid. Yep. It's like, how often do we, here, we miss like just being like childlike,
Yeah.
And I don't know, dude. Like you can summarize movies to make them sound way more sophisticated.
Was that your second one? You've cried in 2 movies, Passion of the Christ
and Big.
Dude, they just get me, man. They just sum up life, that one with Jesus, and then that guy that's a kid. All right. Well, I appreciate your honesty. I mean, as a fellow movie crier, I don't think John does, right? John, you said you don't.
As I've gotten older, a little bit more.
Yeah.
Movies about kids get me.
Yeah.
Now that I'm a dad and that kind of stuff, like there's certain things where it's like, oh man, don't let my wife see this. But
I might have cried in I Can Only Imagine.
I haven't seen it yet, but it looks really good. I've heard good things. I haven't watched it.
It's good. Also, another based on the true stories.
Yep. I don't like have tears running down my face. I want to be clear. I'll get like welled up. I'll do like a well up. No, I mean I own it. It happens pretty regularly. It can be honestly a good commercial, like a good UNICEF commercial, and I'm hooked.
Oh boy, we're gonna move on. All right. So cheat day, burger or pizza? Pizza.
But I mean cheat day. I don't cheat day with pizza.
Oh, that's like
pizza's on the program. Program pizza.
No.
I got it.
Pizza,
Alden program pizza.
Okay, so like
man, Alden program's like, getting soft over there.
3 weeks of no riding, guys. 3 weeks of no riding just cause program pizza.
No, I mean like I'll have pizza if I do it without cheese or whatever. But like
bread,
that's not pizza.
You eat bread. He eats bread.
That's bread.
With some sauce. with some marinara. You dip bread in marinara.
Well, like, hey,
that sounds great.
They have vegan cheese. It's pretty solid.
They have what?
Vegan cheese at Pyology?
Dude.
What is
vegan cheese is terrible.
What is the substance?
Try it at Pyology. It's not that bad. I've had other people try it and they're like, it's not too bad.
All right, maybe Pyology. It
was not a positive reaction.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
It's not bad. It's okay. I can eat it. Yeah. Do either of you know what vegan cheese is made of? I don't know anything about vegan cheese. Like, what is the?
I don't know, but I do know I've had a number because my wife doesn't do dairy.
Probably a good question.
And it's not worth eating. That's what I do know.
You said,
I'm not sure.
So, all right. So you're a pizza guy with vegan cheese or no cheese. Got it. So you like bread. And there's more bread on pizza than a burger. Do you eat burgers? I've heard some stuff over there that it's not allowed or something.
Every now and then, I'll have a burger, but like it's got to be like quality meat and stuff.
Yeah.
So I have a spot I like in Florida. They like have really good burgers.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Last question, one we've asked before, but I really like this question. You've done a lot of traveling. You've eaten a lot of crappy food in your day, I'm sure. If you could choose one fast food joint with the grossest food, which one are you closing?
Wait, I'm closing?
You get to close it. You get to close you get to close the joint.
They go.
Place with the worst food gets closed. Your decision. Which place do you axe? They should not be serving food.
Yeah, it's that bad.
We asked this to Trey, right? And Trey's hair trigger decision, dude, without missing a beat. Like, I think he might have tried to get him shut down. It was so quick. Was Denny's.
Denny's. Oh,
yeah. He said Denny's is out of here, which I couldn't argue.
Yeah, man, neither one of us can argue.
There's some bad ones out there in Florida. You've been to that Cristal's place where they do the bag burgers?
You know what? Oh, I got one.
That place sucks.
Oh my god.
What a burger. That place sucks.
Steak and Shake's pretty bad. It's really bad.
Steak and Shake's
not a fan.
Steak and Shake's got a lot of bad press right now.
Do they?
Really?
Yeah, Steak and Shake on Broadway in New York for real. They had some sort of issue with, apparently it was non-criminal action, but they served a milkshake to a cop that had been tampered in some way. They say maybe from the machine, but it had like a trace of bleach in it. They're still investigating.
Oh, I heard that.
No one's been arrested, but the cop had to go to the hospital. Happened like yesterday.
Yeah.
So you could shut down Steak and Shake, but you might be late to the ball game.
Yeah, they might be getting close.
Steak and Shake, yeah. Steak and Shake's rough. I don't eat like hardly ever any fast food.
Yeah.
Even like growing up. So
I would have to disagree with you. I mean, McDonald's is way worse than Steak and Shake.
Oh, dude.
The only thing with McDonald's is McDonald's
in salads like, or something
overseas.
Okay.
Oh, they're nicer.
Okay.
My friend, he like his parents and he run like all the McDonald's in Kuwait. And so when I was over there for my off season this year, they like brought some McDonald's burgers out, and you know what? I'm still here. So it wasn't too bad.
I'm sure all
pretty
of us
good,
had
pretty good endorsement. That's a pretty good endorsement.
I'm still here. I'm still alive.
I hope one day I can earn some high praise from Michael. It's not so bad, or I'm still alive.
Dang, that's rough.
I got a bonus question, Michael. What is your favorite musical instrument? Whether to play or to hear. I feel like you'd pick an odd one, but I know you can play some instruments as well.
Oh, saxophone.
Saxophone.
Cool. One of my
to hear or to play.
You can't play. You don't play sax, do you?
Not yet.
Hey man, I don't put anything past Michael.
If you want to learn, I actually could hook you up with a guy that would probably love to teach you. One of my good friends from school, he was in my Bible study, my men's Bible study in New York, is a really good saxophonist. Like he actually played at the UN one time for a thing. And he, at the beginning of quarantine, put on social media that he was looking for something to do and a way to help people like decompress. So he just started giving free sax lessons via Zoom. You call him,
Kenny G or
set it up. Dude, he's honestly legit. Like this kid's good. His name's Tim. But dude, he's into rowing, so he's super athletic. I'm sure he'd be super stoked if you wanted to do sax lessons with him. Let me know, man.
Hey, I would love that. I would first have to get a saxophone.
Yeah.
And I have so many hobbies at the moment that it's
okay.
Probably not safe to pick up another one.
I'll slow down.
But
that's funny.
But I'll keep that in mind.
All right.
Cool. Michael, we appreciate your time, man. We love having you around and miss you out here in California. And all that you bring to what God's doing here at Paddock and just life, dude. Go get it this weekend. Have fun. And we hopefully will talk to you soon, my man.
Yeah, I miss you guys dearly. So it's good to catch up.
For sure.
Yeah, appreciate you, dude. We love you. We're wishing you the best.
Love you too, guys.
Thanks, man.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you soon. Later.
See you.
Thanks for tuning in to RevUp. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any new content. Check us out every Thursday at 5 p.m. And if you're interested in learning more about Paddock, head over to paddockrev.org or follow us on Instagram. Until next week, I've been John Parkinson. This has been RevUp. Stay healthy and God bless.